So today I'm in Oxford and I'm cooking with Alexandra Green, who works for the British Museum, and she's got the intriguing title of Curator for Southeast Asia. I've got lots I want to talk to her about, but most important, I want to talk about spices and how they've travelled across the world. Knock on the door. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
No, I'm Alexandra. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Come on in.
And thanks for cooking with me.
Oh, please, come in.
After you, I'll follow you. Oh, what a beautiful house.
Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, you're like countryside outside, but city outside. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's great. We bought it because of the field. And then at the bottom of the road's a cycle path into town. So sort of 10-minute cycle and you're in the center of town.
That is very unexpected.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it looks like rural community. Right, tell me, what are we cooking today?
So we're doing a Thai chickpea curry.
Yep.
So chickpeas aren't very standard in Thai cooking, but it's actually a dish that I really like.
Okay.
So, and it's easy, so you can kind of make it as fancy as you like, or if you want a quick and easy dinner, then you can also kind of adjust it slightly, so then it's very easy to deal with, and it's a super fast dinner.
Oh my gosh, lovely kitchen too.
Thank you very much.
Well, the premise of this podcast is for you to teach me your favourite dish to cook.
Okay.
I'm a chef and a food writer, but I'm interested in how like food and cooking fits in your life and how that works with your career, I suppose.
Okay, well, I guess I really like Southeast Asian food. I grew up in Malaysia.
Did you?
A chunk of my childhood was spent there, and my parents were very, very keen, so we ate entirely Asian food.
Okay.
So I still feel more satisfied if I eat Asian food as opposed to, say, Western food. Like potatoes never quite do it for me kind of thing. So I really like rice, and so things with rice or rice noodles. So we do a lot of that sort of cooking at home.
And your job, can you give me your full title? Because it's a curious one.
Yes, I'm the S.P. Shaw Curator for Southeast Asia at the British Museum. So S.P. Shaw is a Singaporean woman, and she sponsors my position. So that's why it's a named position.
Okay, I didn't clock that because I was like, who is this S.P. Shaw?
Yes. So Priscilla Shaw sponsors my position, which is why I've got her name in front of my title.
And your job is medals and money?
No, I am curator for Southeast Asia. So I deal with the Southeast Asian collections at the British Museum. So Southeast Asia is Burma, or also known as Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, Indonesia, Philippines, East Timor. So it's a huge chunk of the world.
Huge chunk of the world.
Yes, and there are more than 33,000 objects from Southeast Asia at the British Museum. So
wow, let's get talking and then let's get cooking and then we'll talk more.
Yeah. So it's a chickpea curry. It's a coconut milk curry. Obviously, there are lots of coconut milk curries that you get. Particularly, I think Thai cuisine is one of the great cuisines.
Yeah, I agree.
And so this is, as I said, just a really quick and easy recipe. We're going to do it the slightly fancier way, especially for you. But normally, like, it calls for pounding and everything, which sometimes I don't bother doing that. I just chop everything up really finely and cook it instead of pounding it. But I thought we'd go the full hog today. And
great.
Actually,
this is why you've got a lovely pestle mortar.
Yes. So what we need to do is we need to get the garlic in there. We got to get the coriander stems minced up in there, and we need to put some peppercorns in there as well.
So 2 cloves of garlic.
Do
you always cook with one of these knives?
Yeah, it's much easier. Do you want something smaller?
No, I love it.
Oh, okay, smack it first.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And then we're just pounding.
Exactly, and the recipe calls for one that I put into in there. Yeah.
And the coriander stalks?
We should probably mince those up a bit first. Okay.
It's just such a heavy knife.
Well, then you get a really good, effect. And you put in half a teaspoon. And so this is, you can cheat here.
Right.
You can mince the garlic, you can mince the coriander, and you can just use your black pepper grater and grate it in and throw it into the pot.
But we're going authenticity.
We're going authenticity today.
How many peppercorns? About
half a teaspoon.
Okay, half a teaspoon. One giant garlic clove.
Yeah.
We've got palm sugar here, yeah?
And but that doesn't go in here. Okay. So then we just pound this.
So why don't you pound it sometimes, and why do you chop it sometimes?
Well, if you're just trying to get dinner on the table.
How many people are you normally cooking for?
There are 3 of us.
Okay.
Myself, my husband, and my daughter. Though actually my daughter's at university now, so she's effectively out of the house. And my husband does a lot of the cooking because I live in Oxford, work in London. So then...
Do you have to go to London every day?
I don't go every day. Okay. I go... It totally varies. Most weeks, 3 or 4 times a week.
But you're not originally from Oxford either.
I am not originally. We bought this house in 1998, so we've been here a long time.
That's a long time, yeah.
Yeah, and I moved to the UK in 93.
Okay.
So actually, most of my life, I would say, has been spent in the UK. And then as I grew up in Malaysia, going to a British school. And now I'm British. So I got British citizenship 5 years ago.
Wow. Okay. So, how did you get the job at the British Museum?
I was living we were living in Sydney at the time, and the job for a Southeast Asia curator came up, and I applied.
It feels like quite a responsible job to be responsible for all that stuff. 33,000 objects.
Well, the BM hasn't. So I'm the first curator dedicated to Southeast Asia at the British Museum. They've always sort of combined it with South Asia before, but there was a man named Henry Ginsberg. So I've had 2 titles actually. I used to be the Henry Ginsberg curator for Southeast Asia, because Henry is a lovely man. He was curator at the British Library. And when he died in 2007, he left some money to the British Library for a curator there and some money to the British Museum for a curator. And so then I managed to get the job, so I was very pleased. I was a curator for South and Southeast Asia at the Archive of New South Wales in Sydney. So I came from here, so moved around a bit.
And so I sort of came to obviously I've been to the British Museum lots of time with my children over the years. Yeah. But also, do you want me to carry on doing that?
Yeah, I was going to get a spatula.
But I sort of it piqued my interest, the British Museum, specifically to this podcast, because I think the social media account is so witty, whoever is responsible for that.
Okay, not me. I won't take any credit.
It's very witty. Here we go.
Yeah.
Is that good?
That's probably good enough.
So, but sometimes I suppose the British Museum does come under a bit of flack, doesn't it, for why all those objects are in that building, and what do you think about that as a discussion?
What do I think about that? Well, I mean...
It was a big discussion, I appreciate it.
So I was about to say, we're not going to solve that problem in the 45 minutes we have today. I think being able to talk about other cultures is really important. And certainly people are very enthusiastic about also seeing their own culture in spaces. So if you go into the China Gallery, oftentimes there are lots and lots of Chinese visitors there. So I think that's a really important thing. Southeast Asia has been quite neglected at the British Museum, unfortunately. It's not a...
Until your job came up.
Yes. Well, even then, so we don't really have a dedicated Southeast Asia space. So I've been pushing for that. So we have sort of Southeast Asia in different pockets, but then I've tried to be very active. So I've done 4 exhibitions since I've been at the BM 13 years now. So I've done 4 exhibitions at the time, and I'm working on a 5th.
Which is on?
Thailand.
Okay.
We have an international touring exhibition department, so I'm preparing so the exhibition wouldn't be at the British Museum, it will be out and about. It'll be, so hopefully go to Thailand, or presumably we'll go to Thailand, possibly go to Singapore, and then some other venues.
That must be quite a big task. Do you want me to carry on doing that?
No, it's fine. I just want to do a little bit more.
That must be quite a big task to sort of make an exhibition and then move it around the world, not even the country.
Well, we've got a whole team doing that, and so I'm choosing the objects right now. I get to do the fun bits.
Yeah, gosh. How do you choose the objects?
Yes, I'm having a fabulous time trawling through all our collections. So, you just go through drawer to drawer, and I have an idea of what I want to do. And so then it's a matter of sort of looking to see which objects might suit that idea.
Yes.
Obviously, I have a general idea of my collections already.
Yes.
I wouldn't be a very good curator if I didn't.
So, 33,000 objects.
Well,
it's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot, but you don't have to go through and look at all of them in a day.
No.
I've been there 13 years, and you just get to know things. People ask questions, people write in and ask me.
And you taking objects back to Thailand, and how does that transfer of might they not just say, can we have it back now? How does it work?
No, basically, you have an agreement with somebody who's going to borrow the exhibition. And you have the whole process. They've got to have proper security, and they've got to have proper environmental controls and everything. And then everything gets boxed up very carefully. And you've given them the label text, and you've worked with them on their design. And so it's loads and loads of people are involved. I mean, everybody thinks about an exhibition as being the curator, but actually there's a massive team of people who work on all exhibitions. So things will go out there. We don't have a contentious tie collection for the most part.
No.
So, it's a matter of, celebrating what we have. And one of the reasons I'm developing it is actually this year is the 170th anniversary of formal diplomatic connections between Thailand and Britain.
Oh.
So in 1855, a treaty was signed between Thailand and Britain called the Boring Treaty. And actually we have some musical instruments collected in Thailand by John Bowring.
Wow.
And so those were from that time. He was very friendly with the king. And the agreement was signed with King Mongkut and John Bowring. They were the two signatories, and so that's great. So then we can talk about connections. So I think objects don't have to be contentious. They can be a way of building bridges and engaging with other people. So anyway, so shall we get this going? Because we also have to cook some potatoes.
You've got 3 tablespoons of oil in there, just the neutral rapeseed oil.
Yeah.
So I suppose what I wanted to talk to you about particularly was spices and how cookery, like artifacts in your museum, and they've moved through the world and arrived somewhere, and then that culture's taken them on and made them their own.
Yeah.
That feels very pertinent to cookery and food and how we cook nowadays. It's like we've had this kind of like shopping experience of the world, and we've got spices and we've got coconut milk and that feels really exciting.
Yeah.
But that wasn't that many years ago that even happened, was it really? So the spice route, particularly with spices, you must know.
Yes, Southeast Asia, yes. So of course Southeast Asia is a source of lots and lots of spices.
Yes.
Cloves and nutmeg and mace and cinnamon. All of those came from Southeast Asia initially and then have been planted elsewhere. Europeans were, first, of course, with lots of intra-regional trade, and then, of course, connections with China and India. And then, of course, as people came, Arab traders came to India and then further on into Southeast Asia. And then, of course, the Europeans made it out in about 1500.
Which is not fairly recent.
Yeah, exactly. Just 500 years ago. And but that's actually the initial sort of wealth from Europe came from that spice trade.
Which was the Silk Road, right?
So, no, Silk Road, well, there were lots of Silk Roads, but those tended to go overland, and that was much earlier because you had this huge trade route that basically stretched from Japan, China, all the way across Central Asia and eventually into Europe. This I'm talking about is ocean route. Yes. So you're sailing around Africa, you're sailing across, the Indian Ocean and Bay of Bengal down into, what's today the South China Sea and the whole Eastern Indonesian archipelago.
And if you think about spices and how they're used in the world, you can see that kind of travel, the way they've come from where they've come from and where they travel to.
Yeah.
And they've been taken onto those cultures and cooking. Right, the pounded coriander, garlic, peppercorns are going in there.
Yep. And you just fry that.
Right.
Fry that
for about 30 seconds.
I don't know what it says. It says briefly fry.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I just usually do it until I feel like it's had enough.
The smell comes off.
Yeah, the smell comes off. It looks like it's been a bit fried.
Right. That's kind of unlocking all that flavour, right?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Okay.
So, and you can pound it. I mean, we haven't pounded it terribly finely. You can pound it more finely. And as I said, you can also just chop it up and, mince it finely.
So what spices will you be using in this?
So then this is a quite unusual Thai. It's not a normal Thai curry. Mm-hmm. But this then will also include turmeric and cumin and basically a curry powder.
Turmeric is used quite a lot in Thai cooking?
No.
So
this is actually a quirky dish in that it combines, coriander, which they do, and garlic, which they do use a lot of, and pepper. There's a lot of pepper used here. And then we put in the coconut milk.
Right, so that's fried for about, I would say about 45 seconds to a minute, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
About a tin of coconut milk?
Yeah, it calls for a cup.
Okay, you use cups. This is your...
Sorry, yes, I do. So,
So
I
about
think it's
250.
about 250 mils.
250 mils of coconut.
Actually, I do both, but this recipe, I suppose, no, this recipe has both.
The cup measurement, it just doesn't, it doesn't register in, in my cooking lexicon.
I guess I do both, but I suppose I do lean towards cup.
It's an easy one, but then how big is your cup? I suppose if
Yes, well, it's supposed to be 250.
Always,
so
okay.
yes, it's a set.
So this is unusual because of the spices, because you're using the turmeric, the peppercorn, the coconut, the coriander.
No, so the coriander, coconut, peppercorns, that's very typical for Thai cooking.
Yep.
What's unusual is the fact that we're putting in a curry powder, which is made up of cumin and the coriander seeds, dried coriander seeds, and the turmeric and the paprika. You get that mix.
So why is that unusual in Thai cooking to use?
So Thai cooking, you tend to use more things like ginger and garlic and the kaffir lime leaves and lemongrass and peppercorns, and then you pound those usually into a paste.
Yes.
But it was, most people in Thailand will simply buy that.
Yes.
You can buy that in containers, and of course, not so long ago, and actually even today, you can go to wet markets and they'll have sort of a big pile where somebody's been up since very early in the morning. They'll have a big pile of curry paste that they've pounded already, and then you can buy it. So
I cooked in Laos about 20 years ago. And, and I said to this amazing cook that we had food with, teach me how to make this amazing paste. I just think this is the most delicious thing I've ever had.
Yes.
And then they were like, well, first you need to go to the market to buy the paste.
Yes.
And then we make the curry.
Exactly. You think they've been pounding it for hours, but no.
But then I suppose there's a simplicity and a sort of reason in that. So we've got the curry powder.
Yeah. So you can buy curry powder. I don't bother. Mm-hmm. I just mix up my own.
Yep.
So it's a tablespoon of this curry powder.
Yep.
So we put that in and smush it around so that get rid of all the lumps.
Yeah,
get rid of the lumps.
It's smelling delicious already.
You can have this with rice. What I tend to do is, we either have it with rice, and we've got a rice cooker that makes life very easy.
Yes.
And then I oftentimes just steam some beans, and then you don't even need to do a sauce for the beans because the curry sauce will do for everything. So it's great. Or my daughter really likes it as if I make it slightly more watery by throwing in the liquid from the chickpeas from the tin.
Yes.
Then we have it with rice noodles. You can get the fat white rice noodles.
Yes.
And then you pour it over, so it's sort of like a
Yes. This is so simple.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So that's why it's great, because then you just boil your noodles.
So have you ever cooked this with someone in Thailand or Laos? Have you ever been over there? Have you cooked in situ?
I have never cooked in situ.
Okay.
Well, other than when we
lived,
when we lived there. So,
yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of taught myself. I was, I moved here in '93, and then I got married in '94, and it took me a little while to find a job, 6 months, and as my husband. So that's sort of how I taught myself to cook. I've always liked food.
Yeah.
Then it's just a matter of. So
but do you travel with your job quite a bit now?
I do. It depends on the project. So I was just in Southeast Asia in February. So I was in Thailand, in Bangkok, and then Singapore. Again, sort of talking about this Thai exhibition and seeing if people are interested. And there's a possible collaboration with the Asian Civilizations Museum in Singapore, and looking to have various collaborations in Thailand. So I was doing that. But before that, I hadn't gone quite a lot because I was doing that exhibition. Then I've also done this book, Southeast Asia History and Objects, which is based on the collection, the Southeast Asian collection at the BM. And then, of course, before that was COVID.
Yes.
So, but usually I go once a year or every 18 months.
So how do you know so much about Southeast Asia? Did you specialise that? Did you do history and then arrive at this? How did that become your speciality?
I did, well, I always felt I was going to do Asia. So when I went to university, I went to university in the US, and I specialized in Asian studies, where I did China. So actually I spent a lot of time in Chinese, and I spent time in mainland China. I spent time in Taiwan, but then I decided actually I preferred Southeast Asia. So then when I went and I did a master's degree at the Center for Burma Studies at Northern Illinois University in the U.S., and then I came to SOAS, School of Oriental and African Studies in London.
Yes.
And I did a master's and a PhD there. And then I got a job out at the Museum of East Asian Art out in Bath.
Okay.
So I've moved around a little bit.
But you're happy now in the British Museum?
Yes, I'm very happy at the British Museum. Okay, so that has cooked sufficiently.
It's cooked for about 5 minutes at a steady boil.
Exactly, yeah. It's basically simmer. Now we need to put in the potatoes and the chickpeas.
Do you want the potatoes chopped up?
Yes, please. That would be great if
How
you
would you like
chop
them
those
chopped
up. Well,
Just-
if we want them to cook fairly rapidly. So, yeah, you could do slices, sure. Let me get rid of the sauce on the chickpeas.
This is a great knife.
The cleaver is brilliant. So I'm throwing in...
I've cooked in China.
Okay.
My stepmom's from China.
Oh, okay.
I cooked in a cookery school in Chengdu out there.
Oh, fantastic. Chengdu has amazing food. Sichuan
it's
food
amazing.
is fantastic. Yes.
It's such a good cuisine.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to have my stepmom cook Chinese food for us now here in the UK.
We actually have
Do you
a
want
very
these potatoes
good...
in?
Yeah, I think throw the potatoes in. Because we want them to cook. I'll turn it up a bit higher. And you can leave the potatoes out. We leave the potatoes out sometimes.
Oh, because you're not a fan of potatoes, as you said.
Well, my husband's actually has type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
So, fewer carbs is better.
Yes.
So I frequently do leave the potatoes out. So that's what I'm saying. This is part of what I like about this recipe is you can put in or leave out and it still tastes great.
Okay.
And then we want our Thai basil leaves.
Yeah, this stuff's so delicious, isn't it?
I love it. Absolutely love it.
It's quite, regular sort of smaller supermarkets don't tend to stock it, but in the bigger supermarkets you can get it, can't you?
You can get it, and all the Asian stores you can get it. And frankly, again, if you can't get it, put in some mint or put in your coriander leaves because you've used the stems.
Yes.
So, and it calls for 10 leaves. I never bother. I just put in a whole bunch.
That's way more than 10. Yeah.
That is way more than 10.
That's a big bunch of Thai basil.
No, it'll be fine.
No, delicious. A tin of chickpeas, about 4 potatoes.
Yeah, it's very little potatoes. The recipe actually calls for 120 grams of potatoes.
Yeah,
so we probably put in slightly more than that.
Okay.
And
what happens with these tomatoes?
Yes, and then they go in towards the end.
Do they get diced?
I think if we just quarter them.
Okay.
Because they're supposed to be fairly sort of still crunchy.
Yeah, it smells delicious. That's so easy, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And now we just have to wait till that is
I love the chickpeas. And why are chickpeas not so common in Thai cooking then?
They don't tend to do many pulses. So you have a lot of tofu. You've got, of course, the various meats and things, but not.
Are you broadly
not
vegetarian?
So no, not. But we eat everything. So, but I try to mix it up. So some days you'll have chickpeas, some days you'll have tofu, some days you'll.
Chickpeas are very good for you. They're sort of like
Yeah.
very good crop that take on carbon from the atmosphere, and they're just, generally we should all be eating more pulses, shouldn't we?
Yes, exactly. And then my husband adores tempeh, which is that fermented soybeans.
Not a fan of that.
But you can get, it tastes different depending on what brand you get.
I love tofu, love it.
Yeah.
And I love, Chengdu, sort of like mapo tofu.
Yes, mapo
love
tofu,
tofu.
yeah.
But the texture of tempeh I find quite challenging sometimes, but I haven't tried many different brands, got to admit.
I would go to an Asian store. We get ours frozen from our Thai store, Tongheng, here in Oxford.
What do you do with your tempeh then?
So then we can marinate it and grill it, or you can throw it into a curry. It's totally versatile.
It's fermented, sort of pressed.
Yeah, soybeans, but it doesn't. Anyway, I just added a tablespoon. Actually, of fish sauce.
I get through masses of this stuff.
Yeah,
it's so delicious.
Yes,
it's just like it's like a backbone to so much cooking like this, isn't it?
And if you are vegetarian or vegan, you can skip it and put in soy sauce instead.
Yes.
It doesn't or even just salt.
Yes. Or tamari.
I'm not sure tamari would taste right. Would that taste right with coconut milk?
Tamari is...
Does it work?
It's like a gluten-free soy sauce.
Okay.
Substitute. You can use it.
Okay.
Instead of, because soy sauce has got gluten in it, hasn't it?
Yes, I suppose it does. I tend not to... None of us has a gluten problem, so I tend not to think about that. But I guess if it were me, I don't think I'd put in tamari. I would probably put in salt instead.
Yes. Okay. So, fair.
I've put that in, and then we need to add a bit of sugar.
Okay. And how does the palm sugar go in?
I just throw it in and it melts.
Okay.
And you're supposed to put in a teaspoon, and I put in whatever I cut off.
Okay. I would say that's about half a teaspoon. That just melts.
And that just melts.
And sugar with the acidity, the salty, this is all kind of classic cooking.
Yeah, this is very typical Thai, where you've got the sweet and the salty together. That's very typical. Let me just stick the lid on. And I'll put the heat up a little bit.
How long have you had this pot?
I bought it in 1991.
That's amazing. Yeah, it looks like it's seen lots of cooking. I love things like that in kitchens, though.
Well, there's no reason to get any other pot. I mean, it's still completely functional.
Yes, agreed.
It's great. And then apparently cooking with iron adds iron to your food.
Does it?
Apparently. I'm not, not a scientist. I can't.
We can look this up on the internet.
Yes, exactly.
So then tomatoes. Quartered.
Yes, I think I'll throw those in later.
Okay.
Otherwise, they'll just end up being
mushy.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's it.
That is exceptional. That is really quick.
Yes, exactly. And then you have your boiled rice noodles. Or your rice.
And what is the cookbook that we're looking at? Whose cookbook is that?
This is a cookbook, and I haven't followed him. A man named Vatcharan Bumichitter.
Yep.
He did a whole bunch of Thai cookbooks, and he used to run when we lived in London, he had a I think it was called Chiang Mai Kitchen or Chiang Mai Restaurant on, I want to say it was on Frith Street in Soho.
Okay.
And we used to go there periodically, and it was really good. It's not there anymore, but this is one of my favorite cookbooks.
And so you bought his cookbook after eating in his restaurant. That's cool. If he's still there? Where is he? I wonder.
I don't know. To be honest, I haven't looked him up. I probably should. I have another one of his cookbooks which does salads, but I find he's got salads in this one as well, so I don't use that one quite as much.
Do you have any cookbooks in the British Museum? Is there any what cooking kind of artifacts do you have?
We have all sorts of things. I mean, we have everything we have some fabulous fish traps, for sort of from the beginning of cooking to the end.
Yes.
So yes, we've got some gorgeous fish traps from northern Thailand, which will definitely go in this Thai exhibition I'm planning.
We've
got mortars and pestles. So some of them are small. It depends on the size of fish you're catching. Yes. If it's up in northern Thailand, it's going to all be freshwater fish because you're not anywhere near the sea. There's some sort of like that, I guess about, not quite a meter.
And how are they important to the British Museum? Because they're very old, or?
They are, these are probably from the mid-20th century.
Okay.
They came to us in the 1970s. There was a British academic who's who's an anthropologist working in northern Thailand, a man named Andrew Turton. He taught at SOAS, at School of Oriental and African Studies, and he gave us a whole bunch of things back in the 70s, and then in 2018 he gave us some more. So
fish traps. What
fish traps? We've got, we have hunting equipment. We've got mortars and pestles.
There must be some beautiful ones of those.
Some really nice wood ones. We've got baskets for steaming things.
Of
course, rice is all. They steam it.
Are there any recipes that or any documented sort of recipes of?
No, that would probably more likely be at the British Library.
Okay.
So, it's no, we don't have any recipes, unfortunately.
But cooking equipment.
We have cooking equipment, and we've just actually published a book called Repast.
Right.
The British Museum Press has put it out, where it's looking at food, objects, and again, sort of from hunting and catching and fishing and
hunting of what
and agriculture. We have a lot of agricultural equipment. We have hose and things for scraping the coconut to get the flesh out so you can make the coconut milk.
Yes.
So we have all sorts of.
And what about hunting then? What is the hunting equipment that you've got at the British Museum?
So I'm not sure that we have actually that much hunting equipment from Thailand, but we have loads of blowpipes, for example, from Malaysia and Borneo, from the island of Borneo.
As they sound,
Yeah.
sort of a weapon that you...
Yes, exactly. You've got a dart, and so you blow into the pipe, and the dart comes out the other end.
Wow.
So we have loads of the pipe, we have loads of darts, we have loads of quivers to hold the darts. We have some bows and arrows, but not as much. Blowpipes were very exciting for collectors. A lot of those came in the late 19th, early 20th centuries. So people were obviously very excited about that sort of thing. Sometimes I do wonder if you had women primarily collecting, what the shape of the collections would be like, as opposed to having men, because we also have a lot of smoking equipment.
Maybe from that time it would be more sort of around the home, domestic, sort of around children, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how culture and society and time means that what we have documented in history now, because history is forever, isn't it? It carries on moving and shifting.
Yes.
And it's always going to move, isn't it?
Well, we always think now it's sort of like somehow you've gotten there, but actually it's not. You keep on going. And so what's it going to be like in the future? So, I do also add to the collections, in addition to caring for the collections, going through them and documenting. And we have all our collections online. Yes. So anybody in the world can look at what we've got. And so because actually more people look at our collections that way than in any other way,
yes.
I try to be very careful and make sure that my records for my collection are as up to date as possible.
Yeah, I suppose when I thought of your job first, I thought you're documenting things that have happened before. But if you've also got to make sure that you're making a library of now for the future.
Yeah, exactly. So collecting. So I'm still collecting things. We've just been offered a group of daggers that were probably made in the 1980s, 1990s, as gifts, sort of diplomatic gifts, and so
interesting.
So I'm starting, exactly. Well, anyway, so collecting those, they might not be the most gorgeous things, but actually they document quite an interesting moment, an interesting interaction. And then I'm collecting some contemporary art. Other institutions also collect contemporary art, so I don't tend to focus too much on that, but I feel we should have some representative pieces.
Do you have a budget? Do you have a budget to shop with?
So the Asia department's very lucky in that we have a bequest that was given to us. I think it was in the 1950s, and so we're able to use the interest from that to buy things. But actually, we get loads of donations. I have so many people donating to us. Lots of people were out in Southeast Asia, during colonial times, or they're out there for work, or their families, originated there, and then they've moved to the UK. So people oftentimes have loads and loads of things and, tucked away somehow. And then at some point they think, oh, my kids aren't interested or the grandkids aren't interested. And I'll give them to the British Museum. So.
And that's probably what should happen, I suppose, shouldn't it? If
Yes, if it can't go back to local communities, if they aren't interested or they don't want it or they don't have any place to put it, then, obviously we can't collect absolutely everything. So I do so what I do try and focus on, if I am collecting, is things that we, groups of objects that we already have. So our collections follow colonial history quite closely. So we don't have very much from Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam.
And why does it follow colonial history?
Well, because, the British were in Burma, they were in Malaysia, they were in parts of Indonesia. So then they're collecting. So you end up with larger collections.
That's why it feels kind of, sort of, slightly awkward to talk about in a kind of, in my world, I sort of think it's such an obligation that we're responsible for, aren't we? That
absolutely.
I feel like...
Well, that's why I feel the documentation is so important, because actually through our collections online, anybody can see what we have, anybody can learn from what we have, people can, download the images. So
there's a transparency, and that's positive,
exactly.
Isn't it?
And then all the research. So, for example, I'm working on a big collection right now formed by Stamford Raffles, who was Lieutenant Governor of the island of Java in Indonesia between 1811 and 1816. And he was very excited about Java. He felt the British shouldn't hand it back to the Dutch. He felt that they should keep it. And so he collected all these things to try and persuade Britain to keep it. Obviously, they didn't. It got handed back to the Dutch. But so we have all these shadow puppets, we have all these masks, we have all these gamelan musical instruments. And so I'm doing a big project right now with 2 academics from Gajah Mada University, Rudy Wiratama and Bhima Raharja, and then an American academic, Roger Vetter, who's an ethnomusicologist. And we're going through all of these puppets and musical instruments in incredible detail to try and figure out where Raffles might have collected them, how... are the musical instruments playable, for example?
My daughter's school has a gamelan.
Okay,
They're
excellent.
one of the only, they go to state school, it's a brilliant school, they've got a great music department, they have this enormous, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's like a system of music.
Yes, it's incredibly complicated, and there are lots and lots of instruments. So Raffles collected bits and pieces from different instruments. He didn't collect from different orchestras. He didn't collect a single set. So the orchestras will come in a set, they'll be tuned together. And so then you can't just, not like a Western orchestra, it's like, oh, somebody just brings their own violin or their own cello and you just join in. No, a gamelan orchestra is made together, they're tuned together, so you can't just bring in another instrument. So actually Raffles' gamelan wasn't his instruments. You couldn't play on them because they're all tuned differently. And actually, one of the funny things about the instruments is we've been going through them, as I said, very carefully, and it looks like they were somebody pulled a bunch of instruments together and gave them a coat of paint so they all look the same, and then said to Raffles, "Here's an orchestra," and of course he wouldn't know the difference.
He wouldn't, and probably paid for the money for it.
The problem is his papers burned and sank when he left Sumatra in 1824. The ship burned and sank, so he lost everything. So we don't actually know if he even recorded where he got them. In those days, people didn't. Even in the early 20th century, the British Museum, we'd get an object and they'd write, "Given by Mrs. J. Smith." And you think, well, God, who is she? And does the J represent her husband's name? Does it represent her name?
Where's it all kept in the British Museum? If you get a piece that's not relevant and you don't need it, what do you do with it?
We do need it. Everything's carefully kept. We have lots and lots of different storage spaces. Some on site, some off site.
It must be vast, the storage space.
Yes, very. So, but there are lots of different ones. So, for example, the Burmese lacquer that we have is in one storage space, and the ceramics are in another storage space. And
what's the strangest bequest or thing that's been gifted to the British Museum that you've kind of hasn't that you've thought, well, I don't know what I'm looking at?
Oh, I had the weirdest one I had was one very strange image. That it must have been fabricated for the tourist market, but it was sort of a combination of sort of some Hindu elements and some Buddhist elements. But they said they had dug it up in their backyard in Surrey in like the 1950s. This was many years ago, so if I'm remembering correctly, but it was dug up from somewhere in the UK in like the 50s, and I thought that just can't be. Lots of things are made for tourist consumption.
Or like Raffles, the Duke to gamelan.
He wanted a gamelan, so you're going to supply him with a gamelan, aren't you?
If you've got the money, you can get what you want.
Exactly. But the puppets actually have ended up being, obviously the instruments are very interesting, but the puppets are interesting too, in that some of them seem to have been doctored for him. Other parts of the collection seem to have come from a single set that probably was old. Old sets are discarded, so they probably just gave him part of the set. We should probably check.
I'm going to check your curry.
Yeah, I've got a spoon here.
It's smelling delicious.
Yeah.
And you're just cooking that until the potatoes are cooked.
Yeah, exactly. We probably should check. What happened? Oh, here it is.
Do you want... That is smelling absolutely fantastic.
I bet you the potatoes are pretty done. Yeah, I think so. We can probably sample it.
Do you want the tomatoes in?
Oh, I totally forgot about the tomatoes.
No, do you want the smaller so they cook quicker, or like this?
Why don't we put half of them in instead?
I've chopped them all.
Yeah, put them in half, and then let's not put all of them in.
Alrighty.
Having looked at the amount of... The family's away, so I'm...
It's just you.
It's just going to be me, so...
Has your daughter followed you into your line of work?
No, not at all. So, museums, are full of old stuff.
Yes.
So But she does like food. She's very keen on food.
Who doesn't like food?
So, well, I do know some people who just aren't that interested, amazingly. But that's not me.
The tomatoes go in, just cook till they're a bit softened. 5 minutes. That's it, done.
Done.
Right, we should taste it then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a spoon.
Okay. I love chickpeas.
It might need a bit of salt.
Well, we put about a tablespoon or two of that.
Yeah.
Doesn't it all? It's delicious.
Is it okay? Great.
That's perfect.
I know. I really like the dish. It's very good.
Thank you for teaching me to cook that.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's exactly what I wanted.
Great.
Thanks for listening to this Good Food podcast. If you'd like to listen to more of our podcasts, search Good Food wherever you listen to your podcasts. For more recipes and inspiration, go to goodfood.com or download our app.